So here's an interesting one. When you go down the rabbit holes, you're going to start seeing the systems and structures that is overlaid on our reality in our society to corral you and your way of thinking and feeling and being into a certain shape, and ultimately for you to give up your power and your energy and your money basically to these controllers, right? This is the conspiracy theory, and it causes this pressure on our soul, I suppose, at least our psyche, our mental health for sure, where it sort of pushes you, it forces you to pull your head out of the sand and look around and go, is there something else? Because this 9 to 5 for 65 years for minimum wage to get a mortgage to pay off my house doesn't sound like living to me. It sounds more like existing, okay? And so you start to look into alternatives. You start to seek out new information. You become a seeker of the truth. Like, what is beyond this? How do I see this clearly? How do I understand it? How do I avoid it? How do I take advantage of it? How do I make my life better? And so you get into spiritual practice, and maybe first you get into religion, or maybe you're brought up in religion and you switch to a new religion thinking maybe this religion wasn't the right religion. Maybe I should be learning a different religion. Maybe they have the answers on the other side of the fence. Maybe the grass is greener over there. And then you might skip and a jump through the through the tulips with all these different religions, and then you go, well, maybe it's not about religion at all. Maybe it's atheism or New Age, or maybe it's just spirituality. What is that, right? These are less restricting containers, but they're still containers, right? And so, like, I'm on my way to where I'm going now, and this video pops up in my feed, and it's like, do you know what the 5 human types are? It's like, if you understand what 5 human types are, maybe your life would get a hell of a lot better. It's like, if you understood what star sign you were and what star signs other people are, then you could categorize them quickly, and then you could make judgments which would lead to better decisions, and your life would be better. Want to learn more? Buy this course, right? Now, it all leads you down. It's the same system. It's still within the same system, because it's all asking you to give up something. It's all asking you to give your attention. It's all asking you to give your energy. It's all asking you to give your money, your time, your allegiance, right? And really, none of this makes your life any better, right? You just start accumulating stuff. It's like these people that go to all these courses, and they, oh, it's a $20,000 course, or it's a $120,000 course. And the person on there is like, I did this course and I paid $120,000, and the next week I made $1 million. So of course that means that the course is cheap, right? Because what you can get out of it. So you go in there thinking you're buying a result, right? So all these people are spending all this money doing all these courses, but all they're doing is filling their bookshelf or their mind with information that they're never going to use. It's like the guy who has a tool shed full of tools, but he never makes anything, never fixes anything, never invents anything. And it's so frustrating, because I see it everywhere, all the time. It's like, what do you really want? Do you want the knowledge, or do you want the ability? You want the ability to change your life, right? You don't want the knowledge to change it. because the knowledge without application and mastery is just philosophy. Okay, so here's the thing. I got no problem with people selling courses. All right, they invested their time, their money in somebody else. They learned all this stuff. They got some value out of it, and now they're going to sell it on to you, right? Repackaged, reworded, it's theirs now, and they're going to sell it to you. That's fine. Like, if you see value in it, go for it. But then I came across some other people who have learned the ability to shape their reality, right? They spent the time and effort learning and practicing by themselves, right? Not trying to take shortcuts, not trying to just buy the results from somebody else who had done the work first and pre-packaged it and digested it for them. They actually wanted to hone the craft themselves. And then they started applying it to not just in the container that they found it in, i.e. being a disciple and then being a great learner of that particular discipline, let's say, and then becoming a teacher of that, and then other people who want to learn that, then they made the money off those people. It's kind of like a Ponzi scheme, right? You need more students, you need more people that want to learn for you to be a teacher to them. And if no one wants to learn, then it doesn't matter how good a teacher you are, no one's paying you anything, right? Then what do? It's when we see all these McDojos popping up and people controlling others on what they're allowed to do and where and how to think and what they can say. You know, it's all to manage this thing and keep it going. But if you have the skill to create your reality and create and attract abundance to you, you should be able to do it with anything, right? You should be able to do it with anything. It's like, it's a mindset, it's a way of thinking that you can apply to all sorts of stuff. So you don't need to be a teacher and sell courses to people in order for you to become abundant. So many of these, law of attraction affirmers and, abundant thinkers, they're abundant off people paying them to learn how to be abundant, right? It's crazy. It's like when I was dating this girl years ago, and she was part of this drama group, and not when I was with her, but beforehand, and got invited to this show, and it was just a bunch of actors just playing around, it was kind of weird. There was no structure to what they were doing. They were just acting, and it looked like this is what they do in their rehearsal to free themselves up in all sorts of ways, I'm sure. But for the audience, it didn't, it was just like people freestyling. And we had to pay to go see that, right? Had to pay to go see them goof off. And of course, none of these actors have done anything that we've ever heard of. Or, none of them were famous today. It was just pointless when you look back on it. It had no value, right? And we got invited to this after party, and I said, what the hell was that all about? Like, I don't want to sound ignorant or anything, but it didn't make any sense to me what I was looking at. And the guy said, yeah, I know, this whole acting drama group community, it's kind of like people masturbating over pictures of people masturbating. I'm like, yeah, I couldn't have said that better, metaphorically speaking. And so I would, I'd like to see people sharing their knowledge with people and not needing to charge them for it because they're making their money elsewhere. And not even that they need to make money anymore because they've bypassed the system, right? It's like you remember that show Mr. Robot, you know, and everyone, when they get cornered and he's basically got them bent over a barrel and he's won, like he's checkmated them, and they say, what do you want? How much? Tell me how much money you want to back off, right? And he says, I don't give a fuck about money. I could care less about money. You know, here's a guy that can just get anything he needs. He doesn't need to pay for anything because his skill and ability trumps all the systems that are set in place, all those paywalls and those gatekeepers and those, you know, security hurdles and hoops and laser grids, right? They all mean nothing because he can bypass them all. You know, he's like Neo in the Matrix. Can you imagine Neo taking money for something from an agent? Like, that is ridiculous. That is crazy talk. That would just, what would you think of Neo afterwards? You'd just be like, what the fuck? What does he need money for? Like, the whole reality is a simulation. Nothing in it is real. It's all ones and zeros. Why the hell would he want a byproduct of that when he's tapped into the Matrix? He is the Matrix.